Hey everybody, we're just getting set up for a live here. All right, we are good. So tonight I'm going to be going over start to finish, what I do once I get lab data. Hey, welcome Colin. Hey, welcome Carol. So the data I'm going to be working with tonight is not personal data. It is data from my lesson 9 practical. I'm actually just going to redo the entire case and the entire notes copy. So you'll see what I'm pulling out of everything. Like you're literally like, this is nothing held back, everything I do. So whenever I get like a client file, this is what I get. I organized it a little bit, and so this is for an example of someone who did 5 labs plus the intake. So I'm going to start looking. I'm just going to open all the intake forms first, and then I'm going to grab. It loves doing this thing where it's like, oh, get your macros, activate your macro things, yada, yada, yada. Macros. And one more is macros. All right, cool. And let's go ahead and open the labs, actually. And then I'm going to get the stuff I need. So here's our labs. Get them in order. 205, 101, 401, IP, sure, that works. My Facebook Live thing goes over there. And so now I just need to grab the 90-day protocol doc and the case notes doc. So we'll just go case note. We need a blank one. Blank case notes form. Awesome. There's case notes, my practical, FB Live. These are all the finished things. Yep, okay, great. Need that. And then we need 2 other things, which are 90-day protocol sheets. Go practice servers, client 90-day. And I believe it's this one. Let's see. We also need female comparison worksheet, which all of this will get explained. I just got to get set up. Case notes 90. It's 9 practical. Oh, sorry, it's back here. Big old launch. And we got, what's the last one we need? 205 worksheet. Go practice client biohealth male. We're looking for the female worksheet. Cool, copy that one over. Sarah, FB Live. All right, case notes. So I actually like to start with the case notes form and then go into the labs. So, and the reason I do this is because I kind of like, you don't want to get too biased when you're going into the labs. Like, again, we don't treat the paper, we don't see a lab result, and then just like, oh, it says this is low, so we're just going to give you this. And in fact, with this Sarah person, which is fake data, by the way, I'm writing Sarah P for Sarah Practice. With the Sarah person, there was a lot of things off. Oh, sorry, this is additional information. Right. I already know her age. I'll show you guys where that is, though. I think it's on medical history. Nope, it's ASI. There we are. All the way at the top. There we are. 5'5", female, fast oxidizer, real estate agent. We can see weight, date. We can see the medication she's on and the supplements she's on, which is a whole lot of them. So we just got to transfer that over to the sheet. So 57, 5'5". Gender, female, real estate agent. Hey, Jimmy, thanks for sticking around. She is menopausal. She's 57, and it says right here. Great. So we don't have to worry about hormones going in and out too much. And then we're just going to make up the date. So main complaint. We can grab her main complaints right here, which is a lot of digestive issues. So constipation, 10, loading, 9, 8. So what I'm getting here already is it's just like if we clean up the gut, probably everything else is just going to kind of fix itself. So I'm just going to, I took the formatting off that. That's what I did there. So again, just noting this over. And so now any additional symptoms noticed. So now, again, there's 3 intake forms. So stress indicators. People do notes here, so I'm not too worried about the actual scores of what's going on right now. I just want to see diagnosed. So she got hypothyroid diagnosed, and up here she's got Armour thyroid, which is great because it's a natural thyroid medication, so we don't have to worry about that at all. Full hysterectomy, and if that's so, they basically take the entire uterus and ovaries out, which is crazy. So that's actually where like all the estrogen is produced. So if you're trying to like balance hormones for someone who doesn't have the thing that makes them hormones, well, we would call that a vital void. And if we've got a vital void, well, then we need to constantly supplement for that thing. Other big notes on this case: lost both parents, caregiver diagnosed by ND. Oh, hypoglycemia. Okay, great. So we've got hypoglycemia and not diagnosed. Wonder with carb sensitivity. I'm not too worried about that. But like a lot of the times, like when I get something like this, like I'm just not too worried about like all the diagnoses. I'm like, just let's fix the function. We got hypothyroidism. Cool. What else have they tried? That's usually right here. Easy. What have you tried that has not worked? And so the thing that sticks out to me here is like a lot of people do this, right? Like, so her complaints are constipation, bloating, brain fog, abdominal pain, and dizziness, lightheadedness. Let's talk about where each of those symptoms could come from. So the constipation could be because of a gut bug. It could be because of low bile acids, so she's just not digesting things well. It could be like leaky gut or blunted brush border. It could be, it could actually be literally not in her head as in she's not having the symptom, but in her head as in like the programming of her digestive movements in her head. She's not getting relaxed enough to have good digestive movements. And so let's look over at naturopath, colonics, chiropractor, supplements, nutrition, acupuncture, herbals. Naturopath could fix that. I would kind of say not, maybe not. Even if they did an herbal protocol to like eradicate that, like they haven't done the labs to know where she's actually at as far as the digestive process. Colonics definitely isn't going to fix it. That's where they put water up your butt and then it comes out, and cleans you out. So, but that's not going to fix what's going on. A chiropractor isn't. That's physio, like skeletal. Like that's also not going to fix what's going on. Supplements are good, but again, if you don't have tests, you don't know what you're looking at. So you're just guessing. That's our motto. We test, we don't guess. So like I have all these tests in front of me and we can see literally exactly what's going on. And all this will make so much sense once we come back. But again, this is kind of why I like just getting into the case notes, getting the lay of the land, where they're actually at, and then going to the lab second. Changes or improvements noted. It doesn't look like there was a whole lot of change because she's still having severe struggles with stuff. But anyways, I'm just going to copy this over and paste it. So there's all these other modalities she's tried that haven't really worked because she doesn't know and they're unrelated to the problem. Apologies, that's my watch. Where's it? Buried. Okay, there we are. So she picked a bunch of stuff that is not related to the problem because she didn't know what she's doing. Which is fine. That's most people. List prescription medications, which is over here. Awesome. I can tell you one thing that frustrates me about this is like we know what the Armour thyroid does. That's going to be T3 and T4 as far as hormones. But then with bioidentical hormones, it's like, well, is it melatonin? Is it progesterone? Is it pregnenolone? Is it DHEA? Like what the heck is it, dude? So this is a point in the case where I'd have to go back and talk to the client and say, hey, what are those bioidentical hormones you're taking? Because what can happen, like a lot of times, so like if Matt, as an FDN, was to recommend, I don't prescribe or treat, recommend hormones, what we have is we have this thing called a hormone check record. So basically, if I assign you DHEA, pregnenolone, stuff that messes with your estrogen, DHEA, liquor shoot, then we go through and every week you're listing exactly how you're reacting to it so that we can tweak that dose so it's right just for you. So like if you go to a doctor and you start getting hormone replacement therapy, what's probably going to happen is, hey, here's your hormones. See you in 10 months or whenever you need surgery or drugs again. But that's how we work. So anyways, just noting that down. Over-the-counter medications. This doesn't get noted in the intake, so I'm just going to put dash there. Doesn't matter too much. As far as diet being followed, there were some notes on this case. Here we are, gluten and dairy-free, adopted whole foods diet. Thanks for the thumbs up. So it says poor diet, used to have poor diet. Now I don't have a poor diet, but she didn't give a number there. Whole foods diet, gluten-free, dairy-free. Okay, good. But she's already got most of the inflammatory stuff out of the way, but even if you get the inflammatory stuff out of the way, if you still have internal issues that haven't been resolved, nothing's going to change. Surprise! There's this game I used to play with my friend called Magica, and in the opening scene, they drop you through this floor in this picture, and or you walk through and it's a party. They're having a little birthday party, and one of these little guys goes Surrender. So surrender, surprise. Anyways, so a little side note. Okay. Relevant historical issues, major surgery, she has hysterectomy. Mold exposure is going to be noted on adrenal stress causes, which is right here. Oh, no, indicators at the bottom. Or we can just hit Control F, mold. I've already looked over this case, so I'm going a little fast because this can take a little bit of time. Now this sticks out to me. Bad menstrual cycles, because we know she got the hysterectomy, so it's kind of like, huh. Rashes, itching, skin, hives often. And the other thing that sticks out to me is if we go back up here to brain fog, poor concentration, it really, for me, it points to a lot of gut dysfunction because the neurotransmitters are made in the gut. So if you're not digesting your food well, over time, then it starts to turn into this whole brain fog thing. And it's like, well, if you want to fix your brain, you got to fix your digestion. So like be eating the right foods, and then beyond that, you got to look at what's actually going on. Just a lot of symptoms here that have just been here for a long time. You can see a lot of the same numbers. So again, pass and now. So first test is time of first test. Chemical sensitivities, environmental sensitivities. Previous infection. That's not like an internal infection, though. That's something caused external. So yeast infections, ND mentions might still be an issue. Okay. Noted. It's kind of like to work on these cases, you kind of have to have like a lot of working memory, and then you kind of make a hypothesis after that, and then you go back and talk to the client. Hey, is this what you're feeling? Yeah, that's what I'm feeling. Sucrose intolerance, chronic, a lot of old antibiotic use. Again, I'm looking for stuff in the environment, but these intake forms don't super note that. So hysterectomy. And if she says she's worried about colon cancer, like enough on the form, then I can know that that's kind of like a dominant thought process, and that's something we need to like talk out and say, hey, do you need to worry about this or not worry about this? How does this affect life? So hey, what does this keep you from doing? And I think for her is like enjoying life. Can't do life. Yep, there it is. Enjoying life. Like I said, I've already kind of looked over these case notes a little bit. I'm practical with the practitioner. So client expects to achieve from working with you. The thing is there's a lot of back and forth. Going back. So I'm just going to write like dash, but I'm also just going to write enjoy life because this is a practice client, so I can't go back and keep adding to these case notes. initial impression. Okay, cool. Let's go ahead and pop in the labs here, and then we'll go over to the labs, and then we'll get into the next little piece of detective work here. 2, 3, 4, 5. We got MRT, which is food sensitivity test. We got Genova IP test. We got BioHealth 401H. And we got BioHealth 101. Awesome. All right, so let's go over to those exciting lab results. So here's what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and explain what the purpose of each of these 5 labs are, and then I'll go into them, and you can kind of understand how we're like shaving layers and layers deeper. Welcome, Stephen. Okay, so this first BioHealth lab, what this does is this measures cortisol over time. And so you can see it correlates with your circadian rhythm. And another marker that this test measures is melatonin and also estrogen and progesterone. So it can tell you a lot about sleep and energy levels. And so this person's coming to us, her main complaint isn't energy levels, but actually I think I'm just going to do these labs one by one. Her main complaint isn't energy levels, but let's get into the actual interpretation of this. So the high line, the red line, is the top of the range, and the green line is the bottom of the range, and the orange line is the client line. And so you can see from the chart here that we have her way below the reference range, and then she's below the reference range again, and then in the afternoon she's just barely in the reference range. You can read it right here. She's 4.5, so it's at the bottom of the reference range, but it's just tanked across the board. We're just tanked. And then next up, we add all of these 4 numbers together, and we get what's called cortisol sum. So we can measure the total output of cortisol during the day. And then we can measure the DHEA as average. And DHEA is the hormone from which I believe all not steroid hormones, all kind of anabolic building hormones are synthesized from. So let me pop over here and grab that chart. Nope, that's not the one we need. Hormone metabolic pathways. That's the one we need. Okay, cool. Yep. So dehydroepiandrosterone. That is, you can see below that are testosterone and our estrogens, which is estrone, estriol, estradiol, and estriol. So if DHEA is low, then and cortisol. So cortisol is over on this branch right here. Cortisol is over here on this branch. So we know if there's a bunch of, if the cortisol is really low, DHEA is really low, then we can tell that there's not a lot of conversion from DHEA over to testosterone or to the estrogens. You can see there's this pathway from progesterone back to androstenedione. Don't worry about that one. It doesn't necessarily happen so much. There's not a lot of conversion backwards to this side of the chart. And so when we're looking at this, we can kind of take an educated guess as to what we would say is the efficacy of the steroidal hormone pathways. So it's like, okay, well, how well is pregnenolone converting into DHEA? How well is pregnenolone converting into progesterone? And supplementation of each of these hormones can cause a variety of different effects. Usually it's kind of, this is the way it's a little easier for me to remember it. I think like woman problems almost. For example, if like estrogen is high or low, it's going to be like bloating or mood fluctuations or like night sweats. I'd say those are like the big 3 for like the estrogens. For testosterone, it's going to be hair growth, it's going to be muscle gain or muscle loss if it's low. And progesterone, not worried about too much usually. All right, so back over here. And so now we have the cortisol to DHEA ratio. So cortisol is a catabolic hormone, kind of breaking down, you think, because the body's using a lot of energy. When it's stressed, it's converting its muscle into glucose for blood sugar, so have higher blood sugar. Woohoo! And DHEA is kind of the building up hormone, the anabolic hormone. So catabolic, anabolic. And so when that ratio is above 6, it means that we are in a catabolic state, a breaking down state. But if we kind of rewind and we look at these results, we can say, oh, wow, she's super, super below the range. But the DHEA is above that. We know she's got a supplemental hormone cream. Where is that? Bioidentical hormones. And she's got progesterone, right? And so if we zip back over to our steroidal hormone pathways, she's adding progesterone and bioidentical hormones. Progesterone, oops. Just adding all these bioidentical hormones. Well, it's like this just, it makes this number a, what we'd say is a non-clue. It's like, okay, 1685, that's way, way, way out of the range. We aren't worried about that. And the thing is this can happen when people use creams. So again, back to the intake forms, she just says bioidentical hormone. She doesn't say if that's sublingual. She doesn't say if it's a pill, and she doesn't say if it's cream. I'm gonna like put a big bet on that it's a cream, because this number is just so high. While at the same time, this number is super high. Oops, I'm getting a little lost. At the same time that number is super high, we have some of the stuff following it, like kind of a little low. So estradiol. So estradiol is kind of the main estrogen we are worried about. That's going to be the one that is the most potent, and then estriol is the one that's most free in the blood. So if it's tanked like this, if it's just below the range, like you see that the lowest is 2, if it's just at the bottom of the bottom, then I'm a little worried about it. But at the same time, this is just first test we're looking at. So so basically, what can we conclude from this test? I think she's taking supplemental melatonin. I think she's using cream. Testosterone is kind of bottom of the range. This is tanked. She's probably super tired all the time. And let's just pop over to the next one. And so this is a metabolic profile. So it kind of tells us like how well the person is digesting, detoxing, just how well they're working internally. So the first one, the first marker we look at here is called urinary indican. And indican is kind of a byproduct of digesting protein. And if it's positive, then we know we need to support the digestive process. We know that they're malnourished because the protein they're eating isn't really being absorbed 100%. So here we are at positive 2. So hey, we need to support digestion. Urinary lipid peroxides. That's how we tell. I mean, I could just read off the little thing here. Lipid peroxidation is a mechanism of cellular injury and used as an indicator of oxidative stress. It's also a marker for detox. I think she said in her intake that she exercises 5 days a week to get away from it. So I suspect there's some over-exercise here. And if she's exercising like this much and everything is just tanked, I might recommend, hey, you're probably working out a little much. Now the next one that really sticks out to me on this test, urinary creatinine is just for calibration of this test, so we don't really look at that. So urinary bile acid, so the bile acid is what helps break down fat in the stomach, and so it's like super high. And so what's happening here is this gets produced in the liver, stored in the gallbladder, and then secreted into the stomach when you digest stuff, and then reabsorbed in the gut, and then recycled. But what's probably happening here is it's just kind of getting backed up. Because she has the constipation, every time you go to the bathroom, there's bile acid that's passed out. And when that doesn't happen, then you get this backup of it. And so I think that these problems are kind of working in a vicious cycle. Hey, she stopped up, so she's not detoxing well. She's not going to the bathroom well. Okay, great. Next one, 401H. This is not the most recent stool test you can do for pathogens, but it is kind of tried and true. So let's go into our analysis here. Escherichia coli is the very typical finding on this, and kind of how I think about this test is almost like a pie chart. Let me grab the paint. So on this, we can kind of have Escherichia coli as we can have it as low, moderate, or high. And so if it's high, it's just going to be the whole graph, so EC, 100%. But it's not. So kind of how I think about it is Escherichia coli is moderate. So we can think of it as kind of taking up 66% of this graph. And so that means there's something else. We don't know what it is. But if we look down test results, hey, boom, cryptosporidium antigen. I'm going to grab my book so I can give you guys a little better definition of what this means. I don't expect myself to know everything off the top of my head. I expect myself to know most stuff. But there's a whole lot of information here. So I'm grabbing my book, looking up crypto. So symptoms of having crypto: very invasive intracellular parasite, migrates into and out of cells on a 7-day basis, can inhabit the entire GI tract, small and large intestine, widespread histological changes, which is kind of immune response, which I'm surprised she's not really super reporting, destroys the cells it inhabits, results in breakdown of the mucosal barrier. Okay, so what have we got? We've got super high, or kind of high, lipid peroxide, so we know she's not detoxing well. She has crypto, which goes all over the body and destroys cells, and then it also breaks down the mucosal barrier. Well, hey, no wonder she's probably kind of malnourished, and she's just not working well. By the way, so crypto pathogen, I believe it's pathogen. Parasite. Okay, so the order for eradicating, by the way, no yeast detected, but we'll come back to that. So the order for eradicating the stuff in your gut, the order for eradicating, I remember it as PBF. Pathogens, bacteria, fungus. And another little quick note about the 401H test here is that it doesn't really detect yeast all that well. So I'm always a little cautious when I still see not detected. And I'm just going to skip over. When we scroll down here, we can see her reaction on the food test to baker's yeast is extremely high. And so we know she has the gut dysfunction, and the reaction to baker's yeast is extremely high. And we know that if we treat parasites, then we're pretty much also going to be doing a lot of damage to these guys. So we might just go ahead and make a parasite protocol, but also just throw in a little bit of a fungal protocol just for good measure, and that'll clean her up. Awesome. All right, next test here is intestinal permeability. So basically, we have some people drink some stuff. It's got some big particles and some small particles in it. Your gut's got all these little finger things in it. They're supposed to absorb it, or it's going to leak through it. And so we basically measure how much we recover. So with the lactulose recovery, that's like a really large particle. And we know with the lactulose, we know that if that is being passed through you, then we know that there's either a lot of what we'd say, there's a lot of space between the cells that are supposed to be absorbing this. And then if the mannitol, so she's got leaky gut. So stuff is just going in between the lining of the cell wall. And then the mannitol is like this really small kind of sugary particle. Okay, so who's pressing all of the emoji reaction buttons? And then we have mannitol, which is this really small kind of sugar particle. And so there's all these little hairs. We can say gut microvilli or gut epithelial. That works. Yeah, there we go. And so there's all these little hairs. Oh, come on. There's all these little hairs in here. So the mannitol is, or the lactulose is going in between the cells, just like this, where this red arrow is. And the mannitol stuff is just not being absorbed at all. So it's just going straight through. Hey, Colin Harrison. All right, so let's go back to the test. So we know that she's got some severe gut issues. It's just not working for her. Stuff's just basically just going through her and not being absorbed. And then the last one is really straightforward. I seriously look at it about like this. Okay, not that fast. So this is a food reaction test. It's actually really cool how this one works. So basically, you send in a couple vials of blood, same day, I believe, and then they lay it out in 150 little cubes, and then they put droplets of these food particles, not food particles, food extracts, antigens into the blood, and then they measure how much the blood expands. And so the more the blood expands, the more the blood contracts, the more the immune reaction, because the red blood cells are sending something out of them. It's being used up and then kind of going away. So blue, olive, okay. So, hey, watch out for olive oil, but hey, you don't eat it a lot, so it's like not a huge thing. Eggplant is nightshades anyway, so I'm probably going to tell you to not use that so much. Carrots, okay, carrots, cool. Oats, cool. Cumin, vanilla. Lemon is one we got to watch out for. Honey is one we got to watch out for. Cane sugar. I have comments on a lot of these. Okay, so first, lemon. There's a one kind of therapy we can recommend is called a liver gallbladder cleanse, and it'll actually help to clean up kidney stones, detox the liver, or if someone has like the high UBA, then it can help to lower that. So we have that high UBA over here. Yeah, it's already highlighted. Super high UBA. Okay, cool. So, but that therapy involves lemon, and so hey, just use lime juice instead. Don't sweeten your tea with lemon. And honey. Let's use some alternatives like stevia or monk fruit extract, or I don't know, something else clean. Now, the thing that sticks out to me about cane sugar is that when you have gut bugs, they thrive in this like acidic, sugary environment. And so if you feed them acid and sugar, then like it grows exponentially, it gets way worse, right? So it's like, hey, let's make sure it's a whole foods diet, but let's also make sure it's a low sugar diet, which is also probably contributing to the maple stuff as well. Okay, so fun fact, black pepper is actually a bowel irritant. So if she's already having trouble going to the bathroom per her intake forms down here, hey, don't use so much black pepper on your food. I personally just stopped using it myself. I have it like once a week or less, something like that. And then lastly, we have coconut, which is, I mean, she probably knows she's allergic to it. And I would wonder about other tree nut type allergies. That's in a different section. She's got a reaction to egg, which can be an ingredient in some supplements. So we need to just note that. Soybean, which shouldn't probably be messing with anyways. Hey, don't eat pistachios. Hey, don't eat sunflower seeds or have vegetable seed oils. Pretty straightforward. So we've got 2 more jobs here, and then we'll be kind of finished up with this case. So the first one is to note all of our lab results in here. So let me just grab this. So relative elevation in the afternoon. So basically all these are below the reference range, and then this one's back in the reference range. Oh man, why is it back in the reference range? Did you eat something that at lunch that is giving you a slight allergic reaction? Let's investigate that. Or are there environmental factors as you work? Do they use these awful cleaning products that are just straight cause cancer? Let's check that out and see if we can get you away from those. So that's what's sticking out to me there. And then progesterone was super high, but it was worried. Need to inquire about whether it's cream or a pill. But that's more like general case notes, so I won't even put that here. Next up, Biohealth 101. Positive indican. It's about all we need to remember is it's positive, and we need to switch to just in. I'm getting a little tired of talking. For detox, awesome, and that's super high. Crypto detected. Cool. Nothing else on there. Good. I just kind of write, like, pick the numbers face value. It's like 0.94, 3. It's like there's only, like, a 3 is not going to fit in the first blank, and we don't spend a whole ton of time looking at the lactose to mannitol ratio, and there's no other numbers on this, so just 0.94, 3. I know what I'm looking at. Good enough. MRT, fewer reactions than expected. Fewer reactions than expected. We get scenario. Allergic to lemon, allergic to sugars. Just had a reaction to egg. All right, cool. All right. Now, so this is how we put together our recommendations for people within this framework, which is diet, rest, exercise, stress reduction, and supplementation. And so within this, when I go through and I write these, it's all small changes. So it's not like, oh, we're going to change this, and this in the diet section. Then we're going to change 20 things in the rest section. Then we're going to change 20 things in the exercise section. Then we're going to change 20 things in the stress reduction section. Then we're going to change 20 things in the supplement section. It's really small changes. I think I'm actually just going to copy over my other notes to save a little bit of time. And then client notes, progress notes, good. So now we are on to the next fun part, which is a little technical. Hey, Dallas, just to catch you up, we're doing a live lab analysis. So I looked over all 5 of these labs, gave my interpretation, and correlated them with client lifestyle factors. And now we're putting together a sheet to give us a little more information on what's going on, what in the world, why did it open like that? I think I might have copied the wrong sheet. Just a sec, guys. Yeah, I think I copied the wrong sheet. Let me search this up again. All right, there we are. And we go to 90. 90-day protocol. Alrighty. This one is saved over. I need a blank one. Do I need Canada? Let's try this one. Nope. Try this one. Okay, there we are. We'll just name that one blank. All right, cool. Blank. Oh, that's not what I needed. I needed the 205 worksheet. 5. Ah, there we are. See, there's this ones with the dots because I can see all the hidden files on my computer. So, practical, Sarah, FB Live. All right, there we are, finally. Rename this. Boom. All right, so now we get to do the real math. So test 1, test 2. So I'll break this sheet down. It's not as intimidating as it looks. We're basically going to put in all the same information again. Hopefully your age doesn't change during time while we're working with her. It'll be a long time. All right, now we got to go back to the labs and kind of copy some stuff over. So 5.8, 3.7, 4.5. The last one was point. Okay, great. So we've got all these in here, and what this tells us is, hey, cortisol, morning, test 1, morning, hey, we go over here, it's low. It's actually way below range. I wish they colored that. So basically what we're looking at the lab here, where the energy levels are tanked and the relative elevation, and then it does a bunch of cool math over here for us. Right, so you can see by what percentage from the ideals it is off. So percent of total difference, where it should be in the morning, it's 17% off of where it should be, the ideals. This one is 5.8% off, this one's 14% off, and this one is 2% off. I don't personally worry about these too much. I just kind of worry about the ranges and let it guide the protocol I'm putting together. DHES average 4.7, and then boom, it'll automatically calculate our thing. So all this is low, 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 low. Cool, she's postmenopausal. Estradiol, scroll down. 1.2, which is just tankoramid. Progesterone 1685, which we're not super worried about because it's mega, mega low, or it's supplemented. Testosterone was something like 58. Was 56. Melatonin was super high at 51.3. Probably the only reason she's still sleeping. Okay, so what does this sheet tell us now? Okay. Values less than those in column K are estrogen dominant. So here is our column K. Estrogen dominance is a real bad thing. So postmenopausal testosterone to estradiol ratio above or below 19.2 is bad, and greater than 30 is bad. So we have a little bit of a problem here, but we also know she's supplementing, so we're not too worried about that. Cortisol sum. So this is a compensatory value if the cortisol, if they're still having trouble sleeping, even though like the values kind of seem kind of in range, then we can see what that is. But her melatonin is kind of in range, but we also know she's supplementing it. So we need to take a lot of that into account. So we've looked over all 5 of the labs here. We've done all of our case notes and gotten a real lay of the land. There's kind of our general diet stuff. Here's looking at where this is. She's totally exhausted as far as output for cortisol, aka energy level during the day. And now, man, this is a long life. And now we're ready to put together diet, rest, exercise, stress reduction, supplementation recommendations for her. Like I said, I'm just going to pull my ones from the practical I already did. So after looking at all of that, these are my recommendations, and I'll go through why I did them this way. So educate about metabolic type, tweak macros, educate about reactive foods, and work on removing them from the diet. So metabolic type is kind of this idea that there's kind of 3 types of people as far as eating. There's people who thrive on kind of a mix of carbs and protein. There's people who thrive on kind of mostly protein and less fat. And then there's people who thrive on just like carbs galore. And that can be determined through this little quiz. Some people say it's kind of subjective, but for the purpose of this being FDN, I go ahead and go over it. So educate about metabolic type. So, hey, yes, you're eating a whole foods diet, but let's make sure when we're eating those meals that we're getting the right kind of fuel mixture into the body when we're eating. And then that can be described through macros ratios. So, hey, kind of what percentage of your meal is carbs, what percentage of your meal is fat, and what percentage of your meal is protein. If we go back over to her intake, oops. Go back over to her intake. Okay, about reactive foods. Oh yeah, she says fast oxidizer. So she's what we call like a protein type. So she's gonna like bust through. When she eats protein, it's kind of like putting like a log on a hot fire. Like the fire gets burned up quick. Someone who's a slow oxidizer is kind of like someone like you put a big log on the fire and it's gonna burn really slowly. They'll get through it eventually, but it's not their ideal fuel mixture. So next step is educating about reactive foods and work on removing them from the diet. Hey, I see you're allergic to honey, you're allergic to cane sugar. I know you do like tea every morning, so let's work on tweaking that. Let's, what other morning drinks can we have? Oh, okay, you're telling me I can put stevia in? Well, hey, now I don't need honey and now I don't need cane sugar. I like the stevia taste better, she didn't report having trouble sleeping. There was one thing she reported at the bottom of which sheet? Causes. There we go. Hop all the way down. Oh, sorry, this is medical. Medical history. There we go. Do you wake between 2 3 a.m.? Now, the reason people wake between 2 and 3 a.m. is because they had their last meal and then they burn through it really quick and then their blood sugar crashes and then they go, oh, it's like a second wave. And it's like, oh my God, I got to eat. I got to get up. I got to eat. I got to fix my blood sugar so I don't die while I'm sleeping. But she also indicates feeling rested and refreshed when she gets up in the morning. But she also has super high melatonin. So again, like I said, whole lot of working memory. We look at a case and then we kind of make the tweaks on there. So as far as her for sleep, I think once we get like the supplement protocol, once we tweak the diet up a little bit, I think she'll be good on sleep. But I want to make sure she has the power to take it to the next level. So, hey, we're just going to educate the client about light, temperature, why they're waking up so they can avoid it, and sound, and then just do general optimization around that. Exercise. Recommend her backing down the intensity so that she can rest up that cortisol, and then recommend in place of the intense exercise, Tai Chi, Qigong, or walking so that she still has like a good gym habit, but it's just not so aggressive so her body has time to rest. And so the reason I really recommended like the Tai Chi, Qigong kind of thing is because when you're sitting there doing that movement, it's about being like in the movement. It's still like an exercise kind of movement. You're still going to be building, but it's really like relaxing from a mental standpoint, and you do leave those sessions feeling more energized and grounded. As far as stress reduction, rest, exercise, and like energy, I always recommend morning routines. If you don't have a morning routine, get one. The Alex Charfen routine is awesome. That is morning.charfen.com. That's a good one. Good starting place. I'll actually link that in the comments. Okay, morning.charfen.com. So that's got like breathing, that's got stretching, that's got water. Those are the main things I took away from it. The breathing, or the water and the breathing were super huge. And then she's also got this worry about like getting cancer and stuff. So it's like, well, okay, I don't deal with that. So as an FDN, it's my responsibility. Hey, you might want to see a therapist for this, because we know that these long-term health issues, you can do actually like literally a muscle test. Go to the gym and think like a hateful, like angry thought, and like, I don't know, push 50 pounds or whatever, and then think like love and happiness, and then try to push the same way. It's like you can do a muscle test on yourself. I may be wrong. I'm no muscle testing expert, but you'll see that it's probably a little easier to push that weight. So the thoughts you have, like, boom, instantly go through all your cells. Now, as far as optimizing, if someone's worried about cancer, the thing that I'm going to recommend for them, obviously, is what we're already doing in the program. She's already got the diet pretty much in line. She's got the exercise thing. Good stuff. Now, to take it to the next level, there's going to be some supplements I recommend. There's actually one out there that will increase the number of mitochondria you have and the efficiency of the mitochondria. It's super awesome. And then there's another one that'll eliminate free radicals better than anything else on the market. Instead of doing it 1-to-1, it does it 1,000,000-to-1. You can message me about that one. And then, so recommending gene testing. Why would we recommend gene testing? So if someone's worried about cancer, they need to eat right for what their current expressed genes are. This is called nutrigenomics. So like what you eat affects your gene expression. And so you can literally turn on and off cancer. So for example, there's some people that are more prone to getting cancer when they eat stuff that is charred and burnt. So, I mean, you should be avoiding that anyways, but definitely clarifying and probably would bring some real peace to her. So as far as supplements, educate on hormone pills versus hormone creams, which is why her progesterone level is probably super, super high. And then we just want to educate them on the 90-day protocol as per usual, and then coach up self-awareness to good feelings. So that's kind of going in hand with those fears about cancer. So now let's go through and actually create the 90-day protocol. So this is not the blank sheet I start with. Actually, let me just close out some of these. Cool. I need to save that. Excuse me. And I don't need to save change to the seat. So let's go. I'll actually just show you what we did. Alrighty, so this is the supplement sheet I start out with. You can see it's pretty long. And we pick out that kind of stuff. So the stuff that's going to stick out to me, I'll just go through and do some of these. So there's a couple different categories. So A, which is spelled wrong, B equals 205 results. Renal. C is 101 results. And D equals pathogen. All right, awesome. So I'm not going to mark the order of these, but I can tell you whenever we're going through supplements with people, we do them. We don't just, hey, here's all of your supplements, take them all at once. What we actually do is, hey, we want you to start with this one, and we want you to start with one pill. So it's like biomatrix, portogenals. Okay, this first one I'm starting with, I need to start with one pill. Then tomorrow I'm going to take 2 pills, and then I don't know, maybe the day after that it doesn't. Let's go to this one. So adrenotrait. Okay, so day 1 is 1 pill, day 2 is 2 pills, day 3 is 3 pills, day 4 is 4 pills. Oh, hey, 4 pills made me feel a little uncomfortable. Oh, okay, I'm going to go back to 3. Okay, perfect. Take 3. Now add the next one. Okay, take 1, day 1, take 2, day 2, take 3, day 3. Oh, 3 was too much. Okay, go down to 2. Okay, great. Now add the next supplement. This is called titration. So it's kind of like, if we were to like paint it out, it kind of look like this. It's like, there's our graph. Kind of like, day 1 is like this, day 2 is like this, day 3 is like this. Oh, that was too much. Okay, great. And now we're steady on that one. And now that we're steady on that one, we're going to add the next one. Oh, just 1 pill. Oh, 2. Oh, 3. Oh, 4. Oh, okay, I feel good. You know what? I feel good at 4. Awesome. Now I'm ready to add the next one right here. Okay, great. So I'm going to do 1. I'm going to do 2. Do 3. I'm going to do 4. Do 5. I can make more space. I'm going to do 6. Ah, 6 was too much. I'm going to go back down to 5. Ah, you know, still don't feel comfortable on 5. I'm going to do down to 4. And then you see over time, now we've got, you know, all these supplements titrated in a way that's not going to, like, just overload a person. Awesome. So I'm just going to go through, mark through all this, and then I'll show you the actual order. So everything is kind of pinked. She's allergic to egg, she's allergic to olive oil, and she's allergic to lemon. Caps lock. So we'll just pick, oops, come on. Awesome. Maybe with the glandular over the adaptogens, because I want to. Okay. So now I'm going to take off these other 3. Those. Awesome. Daytime maintenance. Verbal. There's all kinds of different options. Definitely the licorice root extract, because that's going to bring the stuff up. This is only for elevated cortisol, and I know I'm not going to do anything with pregnant alone. I'm going to do, oh no, she's not going to sleep complaint. Second one. I need to talk to her before I can recommend progesterone, so I'm just going to leave all the progesterones and DHEAs on here. Well, no, her DHEA is good. So I'm just going to leave it there. She's going to have to ask about switching anyways. Glandular support for men is out. There's one on here that said use if primary complaint is energy. Yep. She doesn't have elevated liver. We definitely need to support glucose, minerals, 8 sleep, 8 blood sugar. Yes. Okay, great. So we're going to move all those. So again, ABC is 101. Empty is, okay, great. B, 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 B. Awesome. The mineral is going to help all those pathways work. The glucose is going to keep her from, stabilize blood sugar and support hormone balance, which we need. And then ovitrate, which is, she's not having hot flashes, so we don't need that one. That's working 5B, so I'm just leaving those there. This one is for C. I could go either way with the HCl or the non-HCl, but I definitely want to give her enzymes. I'm going to go with no HCl on this one. So again, some of those gut bugs thrive in the thrive in an acidic environment, so we don't want to give them acid. So before recommending something like HCl to someone, you want to make sure that they don't have a gut bug, or especially just symptoms from a gut bug, because then you could make it way worse. And we have the option of egg protein or a marine collagen, but she's allergic to egg protein. We know she's malnourished, so we definitely want to add the extra protein in there. Cool. Antiox, I'm going to give her something else for that. Vitamin C is fantastic for the adrenal program. I've been doing that lately. It's just awesome. If you're just beat during the day, add some vitamin C. This is kind of a smattering. I'm not a huge fan of it. Not worried about lipoic. And this is just another vitamin C, so we don't need these three. Oops. Out. 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 I'm not worried about any of these. So anyways, this is pretty much how you put together the thing, and then we recommend what are the lab tests. Pick what we wanted to use for the pathogen cleaning, and that's that. So I'll show you the finished product, which is right here. You see we've got B1, B2, B3, A1. A is allopathic, and so allopathic is just like stuff that's going to cover the problem, but it's not going to fix it. So that's what allopathic is. So that is what people get when they work with me doing labs and stuff. So I hope you enjoyed it. It was a blast to go over all this stuff. I love looking through it. It's just endlessly fascinating to me. I have just my final left. I worked on that today, and I got my verbal final after the FDN conference this week. Super excited about that. Let me grab the schedule. I'll show you guys a little bit about what I'm learning. Gotta find the schedule. There it is. Awesome. So I'm headed to San Diego this week. You can read it. Really excited to meet Reed in person. Really excited for all these lectures. Lifestyle medicine. Facebook groups. Excuse me. We got morning yoga. Yay. Super excited for Dr. Tom O'Brien. Smart dude. And also super excited to meet Sean Coxon. He's had a big impact in my life. Though I suspect I've seen his content before. But again, super excited to meet him. Brush shoulders. And super excited for Carrie Jones because she's a hormone. whiz. Pain medicine will be great because I know that over-the-counter pain meds are bad for you, but I don't know that. Hey Nathan. So over-the-counter pain meds are bad for you, but I'm a little bit more like, okay, so what do I use instead? I feel like that question hasn't been answered super well in the same sentence or same breath as, hey, those are bad. No, I did not get the. Did not buy the mold lecture, but here's all the people speaking. Yay! Awesome. All right, this was super fun, guys. If it was helpful, let me know. Maybe I'll do it again with some more cases, and everybody can learn, and we will learn together and have a healthy day, and talk soon. See you guys.